Hey guys, what's up? So I know it's been a little while since I've done one of these, but today I'll be giving you my best albums of 2005. So last time I did one of these videos was sometime last year, and I believe the last one I did was the year 2003. So we're back, and we're going 2 years later, 2005, sticking with the theme of 90s and 2000s. Those are the eras that I've been sticking to lately with this series. I will be going beyond the 90s and beyond the 2000s at some point, but we will see for the foreseeable future. So down in the comments below, let me know some of your favorite albums from the year 2005, and let's get started. At number 1, I have Bullet for My Valentine with the album The Poison. Sorry, that was my speaker turning off. So, with the album The Poison, one of my favorite metalcore albums, and an album that is essential in helping me get into metalcore in the first place. So yeah, Bullet for My Valentine, The Poison, classic album, you can't go wrong with it. Number 2, Nickelback, All the Right Reasons. Now, I know in recent time people have had a change of heart about Nickelback, but back in the day, everybody hated Nickelback for some weird reason or another. Nickelback has always had fans, but back in the day, if you weren't a Nickelback fan, people would avoid this band like the plague and just talk shit about them and hate on them for really no reason. I can't think of a reason why they were so hated back then. But if I had to guess, it was probably all the airtime they were getting, all the songs that played on the radio back then. I know How to Remind Me, which came out in 2001, was a song that played literally to death for years on end. Probably people were sick of that song. A song like Someday, a song like Rockstar, Photograph is another one that I guess people got tired of back then. But these days, I see a lot of love for Nickelback. Like I said, a lot of people have turned around on them for the better and have given Nickelback a second chance, I guess is the best way to put it. And I've seen Nickelback live. They put on a great show. I saw them back in 2017. So if you want a good rock show to go to that's really good live, go see Nickelback. I would recommend it. But yeah, All the Right Reasons, one of my all-time favorite albums, and one of my favorite albums from 2005, hands down. Number 3, I'm going to get looks for this one too. Hinder with Extreme Behavior. This album, I think it's pretty solid. Is it, top shelf music from 2005? No, but for what it is, it's really not that bad. I used to be one of those people that didn't care for Hinder. I wouldn't say I was on the hate train for Hinder, but over time, I had a change of heart with Hinder. And besides Hinder fans back then, everyone was hating on Hinder. And the song Lips of an Angel, sure, it's overplayed, it's probably overrated, or considered to be overrated by some people. But I always thought Lips of an Angel was a good song. And Hinder, besides Lips of an Angel, I think they got some decent songs in their catalog. But yeah, I'm a Hinder fan. I'm sure you guys have seen my Hinder video, my top 15 Hinder songs, but yeah, really not that bad of an album, really not that bad of a band, and I don't think they're as bad as everyone says they are. So there you go. Number 4, Audioslave with Out of Exile. And Audioslave is a band that I really think deserves their flowers by now. Of course, you had a great lineup with that band. You had Chris Cornell, of course, from Soundgarden on lead vocals, and then you had the members of Rage Against the Machine after their respective bands went on hiatus. And we got some really good music out of it. We got 3 really solid albums, and Out of Exile has got some bangers on it. I really think all of Audioslave's albums are good. They never released a bad album, even though they only released 3, but they're all good. Still, Self-Titled is my favorite of the 3, but Out of Exile, really good album from 2005. All right, number 5, we have Avenged Sevenfold with City of Evil. This is an early 2000s classic, I would argue a metalcore classic, and it's a classic in Avenged Sevenfold's catalog. I know this album by itself has a pretty massive fan base, but yeah, Avenged Sevenfold from 2002 all the way to, I would say, 2013, I think is Avenged Sevenfold's prime. But yeah, a lot of great songs on City of Evil, and still a great album all these years later. Number 6, Buckcherry. I'm going to get some looks and some side eyes for this one too, with their album 15. Another band where, like with Hinder and Creed, a lot of people disliked, a lot of people thought, was a really crappy band, and, Buckcherry isn't top shelf rock and roll, but 15, it's got a couple decent songs on it. I think Sorry is a good song. Crazy Bitch, as overplayed as that song is, I still think that song's a banger. Yeah, an album that I've had a change of heart with over the years, and yeah, I think it's a good album. Whether you love them or hate them, I'm sure I'll get comments from both camps down in the comments below, but yeah, Buckcherry 15, solid album. Number 7 is Burn Season with their self-titled album, Burn Season. Really underrated band. I don't really hear anyone talk about them at all. I don't think they're even a band anymore. I don't think they release music anymore, but Burn Season, their self-titled album, solid debut, and it's got some pretty good songs on it. Carry On, I think, was the biggest song on that album. It's a good song, and I would recommend you go listen to it if you haven't heard the album in a while. All right, number 8 is, I want to make sure I pronounce this correctly, because I know last time people told me I mispronounced it. Chimaira with their self-titled album, Chimaira. Really good album. Really great band, too. They got some really good stuff. Really underrated metalcore band. With their first album, they started out more in that new metal vein, but 2003 and onward, they started going more metalcore, and I think their self-titled album from 2005 is still their best album to date, and it's one of my favorite albums of 2005. Number 9 is Cold with A Different Kind of Pain. Underrated band. underrated album. I don't really hear too many people talk about the band Cold anymore. They're in a similar vein to a band like Stained. I know they've done a song with Aaron Lewis before, but they kind of have that moodiness of Stained with the riffs of early 2000s post grunge with a little bit of new metal in the mix with the guitar work. And this was one of their albums where they started to go more in a post grunge direction and move away from their new metal sound. But yeah, solid album, and I think it's one of their best. Number 10, Disturbed with 10,000 Fists. Easily one of Disturbed's best albums, and it's still a great album all these years later. Not a single bad song on it, I would argue. It's damn near a perfect album, but yeah, really good stuff. Number 11, Korn with See You on the Other Side. This album recently celebrated its 20th anniversary. Or not recently, but last year, obviously. And this album, really good. I know Brian Head Welch left the band I think he left the band in 2002 or 2003, around that time. But even without Brian Head Welch, they still managed to deliver a very solid album, and I think it's one of the best albums of 2005. Number 12, Demon Hunter with the Triptych. So Demon Hunter, another underrated band on this list, a metalcore band that doesn't really get the love and flowers they deserve. I would encourage any metalcore fan to go check out Demon Hunter. And their first album, they're self-titled, from 2002, they were very much influenced by Slipknot and sounded more new metal. But just like with Chimera, they started to shift towards more metalcore direction. And the Triptych is one of their best albums still to this day. One of my favorites from Demon Hunter. So yeah, if you're a Demon Hunter fan and you haven't heard this album in a while, go listen to it. If you're a metalcore fan and you're trying to find something new to listen to in metalcore, or listen to a band that doesn't get the recognition or credit, or is more underrated, go listen to Demon Hunter. You won't regret it. Number 13 is Stained with Chapter 5. This album does not get talked about even in the Stained fan base, which is weird. I always thought that this was a good album, and it doesn't get talked about as much as, say, Dysfunction or Break the Cycle, or even, well, everyone says Illusion of Progress is the forgotten Stained album. But honestly, whenever I see people list their favorite songs from Stained, I don't really hear too many people pick songs from Chapter 5, which is a shame because I think it's one of their best, and it has a lot of my favorite Stained songs on it. I would argue that Stained's first couple albums, Dysfunction, Break the Cycle, um, 14 Shades of Grey and Chapter 5, that's Staind at their best, and I think that's their best run of albums. Number 14, we have Fozzy with All That Remains. Now, if you're a wrestling fan, you obviously know who Chris Jericho is. And if you're a wrestling fan, you're probably a Fozzy fan, because his music and his wrestling career kind of go hand in hand, because when he wasn't wrestling, he was doing Fozzy and making Fozzy records. And then when he wasn't doing Fozzy, he was wrestling. So, he was going back and forth between those two professions. And I knew Chris Jericho was a wrestler, but I knew him as a musician first, and I checked out Fozzy, and I really like his stuff. I think Chris Jericho is a good singer, as good as he is as a wrestler. And I think Fozzy is a great band. So yeah, All That Remains. I think All That Remains was their third album. I could be wrong about that. Die-hard Fozzy fans, let me know if I got that right. Number 15, George Strait with Somewhere Down in Texas. Really good album. One that doesn't really get talked about as much as, say, Carrying Your Love With Me or Blue Clear Sky. Definitely an underrated album from George Strait. Number 16, Dierks Bentley with Modern Day Drifter. Really good album. And Dierks Bentley, one of my favorites in 2000s country. Really good album from 2005. All right, we got 3 more to go. Number 17, probably going to get looks for this one too, but I don't care. I'm a big fan. Chris Brown with his self-titled album, Chris Brown, in 2005. Honestly, you can make the argument that Chris Brown's run from 2005 to about 2014 was his best. I think there could be an argument made for that. But yeah, Chris Brown's self-titled album, great album, and there's a lot of classic songs on there. You got Excuse Me Miss, Run It, the Run It remix. But yeah, just a really solid album from 2005. All right, number 18, Sevendust with Next. I think this album's pretty underrated when you compare it to Sevendust's other albums. Doesn't really get the love it deserves. And last but not least, at number 19, Kanye West with Late Registration. You can't talk about 2005 without mentioning Late Registration by Kanye West, because he is one of the greatest of all time. It can't be argued, it can't be disputed anymore. Like, Kanye West is one of the greatest of all time, especially when it comes to producing. And Late Registration, banger of an album front to back. So yeah. So see you guys in my next video. Rock on.